You've been deceived, not just by the stories spun by the world around you, by the media, by the culture, by the alluring narratives that promise love and connection, but by your own instincts, dulled by years of comfort and never honed to cut through the illusions. You thought growing older meant growing wiser. You believed that a woman who carries herself with the poise of adulthood, who wears the skin of maturity, must surely possess it. But here's the unspoken truth, when no one dared whisper to you, many women never truly grow up. Not in their hearts, not in their minds, not in the deep recesses of their psyche. This isn't a judgment, it's a reality, one that Carl Jung, the great explorer of the human soul, tried to illuminate long before the world was ready to hear. You were raised to be a provider, a protector, a man of strength and resolve. You were taught to build, to stand firm, to carry the weight of responsibility. But no one gave you the map to navigate the hidden truth, that some women, despite their age or beauty, remain tethered to the mind of a girl, draped in the illusion of adulthood. If you're honest with yourself, you've seen it, you've felt it. The indecision that lingers like a fog, the romantic fantasies that paint life as a fairy tale, the subtle dependence cloaked in charm. You've been caught in the emotional whirlwinds that leave you questioning yourself, wondering if you're the villain for not playing the role of her savior. You thought it was just a phase, a quirk, maybe a scar from past trauma. But Jung had a name for it, Puella Eterna, the eternal girl. She's not just youthful in spirit, she's frozen, not in body, but in soul. Her psyche is trapped in a shimmering dream world where life is meant to be effortless, magical, someone else's burden to bear. You've met her, you've dated her, perhaps you've even married her, and every time you felt the crushing weight of carrying someone who refuses to walk beside you as an equal, as a true partner in the journey of life. Jung didn't discover this by chance. He studied it, dissected it, saw it clearly. While boys often dodge maturity through rebellion or aimless wandering, women like the Puella Eterna evade it through dreams, endless fantasies, emotional dependencies, and a refusal to confront the raw, unpolished edges of reality. She doesn't face life head-on. She dances around it, twirling in circles, waiting for someone to sweep in and piece together the fragments of her world that she won't touch. If this is striking a chord, it's because you've paid the price. You've felt the confusion, the guilt, the chaos of loving a woman who seems whole on the outside, but is only half-formed within. And the worst part, no one warned you. Not your father, not your mentors, not even the so-called dating gurus flooding the internet with their shallow tactics. They taught you how to charm, how to pursue, but they never handed you the truth. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to grow. Jung taught that maturity isn't a gift of time, it's a conquest. It's the integration of the conscious and unconscious, the courage to embrace discomfort, the strength to shoulder responsibility. The Puella Eterna resists this at every turn. She clings to the illusion of innocence, to a world where hard choices can be avoided, where every conflict is someone else's fault. You see it in her refusal to make decisions, in the way she shifts blame when life gets tough, in her endless chase for fleeting passions, new jobs, new relationships, new dreams, always seeking the thrill but never building anything lasting. This isn't mere confusion, it's a psychological fortress, a defense against the process Jung called individuation, the grueling, transformative journey of becoming whole. And here's the part that should stop you in your tracks. You didn't see it coming. You watched these patterns unfold and you called it love. You thought it was your duty to fix her, to guide her, to be her anchor. In doing so, you lost pieces of yourself. When a man stands beside the eternal girl, he doesn't just carry her, he shrinks. He adjusts, softens, avoids conflict, becomes her emotional crutch. He convinces himself it's noble, but it's surrender. You gave up your center, stepped into her shadow, and called it devotion. Jung warned us, what you do not bring into consciousness returns as fate. And that's the cycle you've been caught in, drawn to the same kind of woman, enduring the same emotional storms, hoping each time it'll be different. It won't be, not until you see the pattern for what it is. The puella eterna isn't always to blame. Many were shaped this way, sheltered, praised for their beauty, but never their resilience, taught to please rather than to lead. They learned to wield charm as a shield, not character as a foundation, and the world enables it. Social media glorifies the carefree, the untouched, the eternally youthful. It's a mask, what Jung called the persona, the compromise between who you are and what the world demands. For the eternal girl, the persona is everything, a glittering facade with no substance beneath. And you, the builder, the protector, step in to be her foundation. But that was never your role. You weren't taught to spot her fear of adulthood, disguised as freedom. You didn't see her rebellion against routine, dressed up as independence. You missed her inability to commit, spun as keeping her options open. Jung saw it clearly. The puella lives in a suspended state, forever chasing potential, forever dodging the weight of consequence. She wants the rewards of maturity, love, respect, intimacy, without paying the price. She craves connection, but flees from accountability. She claims to want a real man, but when he arrives, she panics. A real man demands a real woman, not a child wrapped in charm, not a damsel addicted to rescue. Your guilt, if it's stirring now, isn't because you were cruel or failed her. It's because you stayed blind too long. You ignored the signs, her avoidance of hard conversations, her deflection of responsibility, her spirals at the first hint of difficulty. You told yourself it was love, but Jung would call it projection. You saw depth where there was only chaos, meaning where there was only need. You mistook emotional dependence for connection, and in doing so, you became her parent, her therapist, her savior. You sacrificed your peace to stabilize her storms, but a woman who hasn't faced her own shadow will make you carry it, and you'll drown under the weight of emotions that were never yours to hold. This is why so many men feel not just heartbroken, but drained, angry, even resentful after these relationships. You weren't just hurt. You were depleted by someone who refused to evolve. You waited for her to rise, to meet you in adulthood, but she wasn't climbing. She was clinging, to youth, to fantasy, to the safety of being someone else's responsibility. You let her, not because you're weak, but because no one taught you better. But now you know. The illusion is shattered. The question isn't why. She never grew up. It's why you kept choosing someone who didn't want to. Jung believed growth begins when we confront the parts of ourselves we've avoided. For women, that often means reclaiming their shadow, the ambition, the anger, the independence society deemed unfeminine. For men, it means seeing clearly, no longer mistaking emotional chaos for depth, helplessness for vulnerability. It means admitting you were seduced, not just by her, but by the idea of being needed. You wanted to be her hero, and in doing so, you neglected your own story. You weren't built to rescue. You were built to lead, to discern, to stand in reality, not fantasy. Jung taught that a man who hasn't integrated his anima, his inner, feminine, will be swayed by it in the world. That's why you're drawn to women who mirror your unresolved psyche, the softness you crave, the chaos you deny, the validation you never received. Without doing the work, you build your identity around being her anchor. But an anchor tied to a sinking ship doesn't save anything. It sinks with it. You made excuses for her. She's just figuring things out. She's been through a lot. She's not ready yet. Maybe that's true, but it doesn't change the deeper truth. She didn't want to grow. She wanted comfort, escape, fantasy. And you, like so many men, mistook that for femininity. But true feminine energy isn't fragile. It's powerful. Focused, creative, grounded, even fierce when fully realized. The Puella Eterna has none of that. She offers only projection, performance, and a refusal to face reality. Stay with her long enough, and she'll drain your drive, your purpose, your very sense of self, until you're a shadow of the man you were meant to be. But this isn't the end of your story. Jung didn't just name the problem, he offered a path forward. Individuation, the journey to wholeness. For you, that means stepping into your power, not dominance, not ego, but clarity. The clarity to see patterns before they trap you, to recognize when you're being pulled into someone else's unfinished childhood, to say no to carrying what isn't yours. It means walking away, not out of anger, but out of truth. Because when you see the Puella for what she is, not a soulmate, not a mystery, but a woman who has never met herself, the spell breaks, the guilt fades, and for the first time in years, you feel free. If this truth is hitting you hard, let it. Let the weight of it wake you up. You were taught to chase beauty, not depth. You were conditioned to prioritize chemistry over compatibility. You were never trained to spot psychological immaturity dressed in allure, but now you see it. Jung said the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, but you can't become that man while orbiting a woman who hasn't become herself. Her beauty, her charm, her intoxicating energy, they're not enough. She'll take your focus, your mission, your fire, and she won't even know she's doing it because she's still waiting for someone to write her story. But that's not your job. Your job is to write your own. Now that you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. You'll notice the signs, how she dodges responsibility but demands loyalty, how she seeks validation but shuns accountability, how she performs adulthood without ever embodying it. You'll stop making excuses. You'll stop chasing potential. You'll stop mistaking chaos for passion. Because that's not love, that's codependency, looping endlessly. Jung didn't give us these archetypes to judge others. He gave them to free us, to help us recognize the madness and step away from it. The pain you felt is your awakening. You'll no longer be the man who gets drained, derailed, or dismantled by women who haven't done the work. You'll become the man who leads himself, who sets the standard, who sees with piercing clarity. And when you meet a woman who has grown, who has faced her shadow, who stands as your equal, not because she needs you, but because she matches you, you'll know her. She's the only one worth your time. If this has stirred something in you, if it's given words to the chaos you felt but couldn't name, don't let it end here. Share this with a man who needs to hear it. Spread the truth that was kept from you. This isn't just a lesson, it's a wake-up call. A call to break free from the cycles that have held you back. You have no more excuses. Let this be the moment you see clearly. Let this be the moment you grow.